The San Francisco 49ers season is teetering on the edge of total collapse. This isn't just a rough patch, folks. This is a full-blown, five-alarm fire. Just a few weeks ago, they were the undisputed Super Bowl favorites, a juggernaut poised to steamroll the entire NFC. And now, they're heading into a crucial divisional showdown with the Rams as a staggering 8.5-point underdog. Let me tell you, a betting line doesn't shift that dramatically because of one bad game. That's the market screaming that a catastrophe has struck. And a catastrophe is exactly what this is. The injury report reads like a ghost roster of their Pro Bowl talent, with star after star going down. But one injury has changed everything, threatening to completely derail their championship dreams. The devastating news about Nick Bosa. He is done for the year with a torn ACL. An injury like that doesn't just lose you a game. It alters the course of a franchise. Today, we're breaking down how this injury crisis, with the loss of Bosa at its very center, is pushing the 49ers to the absolute brink. We'll dig into the chaos on the field, the immense pressure on the coaches, and answer the one question on every single Niners fan's mind. Is the season already over? If you want to stay ahead of the curve with deep dives like this, make sure to subscribe for more analysis. To really grasp the scale of this disaster, you have to look at the sheer quality of the players who are gone. We're not talking about depth pieces here. We're talking about the pillars of the entire franchise. It all starts with the heart and soul of the defense, Nick Bosa. He suffered a season-ending torn ACL early this year, a brutal blow that creates a void that is simply impossible to fill. This is the second major knee injury of his career, after tearing the ACL in his left knee back in 2020. He is the engine of their defense, and that engine has been completely ripped out. But the bleeding doesn't stop there. On offense, things are just as grim. Quarterback Brock Purdy has been fighting a nagging toe injury since week 1. He already missed 2 games, came back for week 4, and immediately aggravated it, knocking him out of this critical week 5 game. In his place, the team once again hands the keys to Mac Jones, who they picked up in the offseason. As if losing your starting QB wasn't bad enough, his best weapons have disappeared with him. All-Pro tight end George Kittle landed on injured reserve with a hamstring injury he suffered in the season opener and has been out for 4 games. Brandon Ayuk, the team's #1 receiver, hasn't played a single down all year. He's been stuck on the physically unable to perform list, recovering from a torn ACL and MCL from late last season. And just to make matters worse, the next men up, Ricky Pearsall and Joanne Jennings, are also out for week 5 with their own collection of knee, rib, and ankle injuries. In less than a month, the core of one of the NFL's most feared teams has been completely hollowed out. Kyle Shanahan's offense is a schematic masterpiece, but it's always depended on having elite, versatile weapons to make it go. Now, that system is being stress-tested in the most extreme way imaginable. With Purdy out again, it's up to Mac Jones to steer the ship. And to his credit, Jones has been solid in relief, even leading the team to a couple of wins earlier this year. But the task he's facing now is on another level, because he's running an offense that has been stripped of its very identity. Think about what makes the 49ers so tough to defend. It's the interchangeability. It's Brandon Ayuk's ability to torch defenses deep, George Kittle's dominance as both a blocker and a receiver, and Christian McCaffrey's unparalleled threat out of the backfield. With Ayuk and Kittle gone, that multi-layered attack is just gone. Defenses no longer have to bracket Kittle on a seam route or keep a safety over the top of Ayuk. They can now pour all their resources into stopping one guy, Christian McCaffrey. What's left is a skeleton crew. The projected starting receivers for Week 5 are a collection of journeymen and recent signings, Demarcus Robinson, Kendrick Bourne, and Sky Moore. At tight end, guys like Braden Willis and Jake Tongs are trying to fill the shoes of a giant in George Kittle. These are legitimate NFL players, but they aren't the superstars this offense was built around. This puts Kyle Shanahan in an impossible bind. Does he dumb down the playbook for the new guys and become predictable? Or does he stick to his complex scheme and risk a tidal wave of mistakes? There's no right answer, and the on-field result is an offense that suddenly looks mortal, relying almost entirely on McCaffrey's heroics just to move the ball. As bad as the offensive injuries are, losing Nick Bosa is the single biggest blow to this team's Super Bowl hopes. Bosa is a generational talent, the sun around which the entire 49ers defense orbits. His ability to create chaos with just a four-man rush is what allows everyone else to thrive. It frees up the linebackers to attack and lets the secondary play aggressively. Without him, the whole philosophy has to change. As Coach Shanahan put it himself, you don't just replace a guy like Nick. The immediate weight falls on players like Bryce Huff and the first-round rookie Michael Williams, who are now expected to somehow lead the pass rush. But the ripple effect is what's truly devastating. The rest of the defensive line has to work that much harder, which leads to fatigue and opens up lanes in the run game. That problem got even worse in the Week 5 game against the Rams, when Yetur Gross-Matos, a key rotational lineman, went down with a hamstring injury of his own. This all puts tremendous pressure on the secondary. Corners like Charvarius Ward and Diamador Lenoir can no longer feast on panicked throws forced by Bosa. They have to stick to their man for that extra second or two, which is an eternity in the NFL. And remember, the defense is being run by a new coordinator after Steve Wilkes was fired last season. This new coordinator is now in a trial by fire, forced to completely rethink his scheme without his best player. Do you blitz more and leave your corners on an island? Or do you play it safe, sit back in coverage, and let a good quarterback pick you apart? Just like on offense, there are no good choices, only less bad ones. The loss of Bosa isn't just about losing sacks, it's about losing an identity. So let's get to the bottom line. Is the 49ers season over? The betting markets seem to think their title hopes are on life support, making them that massive 8.5-point underdog against a division rival. And it's tough to argue with them. Losing a Defensive Player of the Year is a blow that few teams in history could survive and still be a contender. When you pile on the absence of your starting quarterback, your all-pro tight end, and your top 3 receivers, the picture looks incredibly bleak. The road to the Super Bowl was once a wide-open highway. Now it's a treacherous mountain path with zero room for error. Forget fighting for the number 1 seed. This is about simple survival. The entire season now hangs on the next few weeks. The absolute best-case scenario is that Mac Jones and this patched-together offense can somehow scratch and claw their way to a 500 record until help arrives. There is a sliver of hope on the horizon. George Kittle is eligible to come back from injured reserve for Week 6 against Tampa Bay, and the team is optimistic he'll be ready. Brandon Ayuk is also targeting a potential return around that same time, though reports warn he is still weeks away. If, and it's a monumental if, the 49ers can stay afloat until then, and if Kittle and Ayuk can come back as the dominant players they were, they might just have a shot at a late-season push. But the dream of a dominant, wire-to-wire championship run is over. That dream died the moment Nick Bosa's knee buckled. Now, the 49ers are in a dogfight, not for a Lombardi trophy, but for their very season. This injury avalanche has turned the 49ers from the hunters into the hunted. Losing a Defensive Player of the Year for the season, while the core of your offense is ripped out, is a true nightmare scenario. The team's fate now rests on the shoulders of backups and a coaching staff trying to navigate a once-in-a-generation storm. But what do you think? Can Mac Jones and this cobbled-together offense do just enough to keep the season alive until George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk get back? Or is the loss of Nick Bosa simply too much to overcome? Let me know your honest takedown in the comments below. And if you want more in-depth analysis on the 49ers and everything else happening around the league, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.